got a guy like that, that's built like that, the 6'4", that we got to translate like that.
They got Jordan Davis last season. They bring Fletcher Cox back in the middle. So I'm sitting there like, we need to put something in this offensive line to combat that.
Overall, I'm happy. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see Dak just out here slinging it to, you know, Brandin Cooks and seeing these rookies and everybody in uniform and kind of just getting back in the flow of things, man. So I'm ready for it.
Yeah, as far as the offseason moves, you know, obviously I love what we did at the coordinator positions, and I do like the idea of giving Mike McCarthy more control of this football team. He has grown on me. I was very out on him after year one, but what has he done since he showed up? He won football games, you know, and he is a coach with Super Bowl experience, so I really am interested to see what he really has, you know, in the tank for us. I think my favorite move positionally would be not trading a third for Jalen Ramsey, trading a fifth for Stephon Gilmore. I like that a lot. You get a cheaper corner, one that's got more veteran experience when you have a room full of young corners, you know? So I think that really that benefits Trayvon Diggs, that benefits Daron Bland, as well as the young safety and, you know, Donovan Wilson. So
that was important. I forgot about that for sure.
Right.
Like
and then
that was big.
The other move, you know, Brandin Cooks, that was a fun little move. I don't think we made the big splash that Jerry was talking about. Like, if that was it, he didn't splash hard enough for me. I like the moves, but it wasn't huge. But Brandin,
that was similar. That was similar to what you said. You was like, you know, we didn't get a Ramsey, we got a Gilmore with a fifth. And then you think about it, we didn't get a D-Hop for the second round pick that they asked, but we got Brandin Cooks for a fifth.
Right.
And I think that was big.
I agree. I just don't think it was a big splash. It was a splash.
No.
Like, you put your foot in the water, Jerry. But Brandin Cooks, you know, you get a field stretcher. That's going to open up the middle of the field for the receivers, for the tight end room. And also, you know, they're not going to be able to stack the box like they could before without that deep threat available. And I like that move a lot. You know, what worries me offseason overview-wise is that we really didn't address the offensive line like I wanted to.
I agree. And, you know, I think that it's crazy you say that we didn't make the put a guy at left guard. You know what I mean? But I think it all hinders on Tyron Smith obviously being healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes for a lot of teams across the league. The thing is, he's shown us who he is, and hopefully we got somebody that can step in. But something that, you know what I mean, that kind of be hidden in all of this is Joe Philbin was trash.
Right.
Like, absolute trash. We always said, like, man, well, like, what is he doing for these guys? And I hate to say it, but I just think that was one of McCarthy's buddies, man. And he kind of came out after the season and kind of said, like, it was hard to let some of these guys go. And even Jerry alluded to it where, you know, he made the joke and everybody was like, Jerry, why you joking like that? He was like, I think the problem is coaching. And I think it was you know what I mean? You might overlook that a little bit, but I think it was a conversation that was had at some point. Like, I'm pretty sure Mike McCarthy knocked on his door, you know what I mean, and said, look, hey, Jerry, you want me to get this thing right? Hey, Kellen got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the offensive line, I'm sorry, that's my guy, that's my buddy or whatever, but you got to go. You're bringing him Mike Solari in, a guy that has a lot of experience. And I think he's a good coach for this team. And, you know what I mean, hopefully some of these guys still go over to Duke Manyweather. You know what I mean? Stay over there, please.
Right.
Go, you know what I mean? Take the young boy too, like take everybody over there, keep them going, keep them flowing. But I think if you think about it, the Cowboys still have a top 5 offensive line in this league. It's not many of them.
Right.
How many teams in the league has an All-Pro? You know what I mean, at every level? Not many. But I will say, obviously, I'm worried with you.
Right.
Tyron Smith, of course, but I think we'll be okay.
The depth just worries me. Starting wise, like, we got a great starting offensive line, but if one guy goes down, that shuffle is not good. It don't work in our favor. But yeah. We also got to think too, like you said with Jerry and the coaching comment. We forget that Mike McCarthy hired his boy Mike Nolan, and that was a shit show.
Oh, for sure.
So
he's learning slowly but surely, man. Like, you know what I mean, get him out here. But I mean, I think for the most part, I think we've kind of upgraded at every position. Sorry, I think I had a little fault right there. But yeah, I think we upgraded at every position. I'm glad we was able to keep you know what I mean, LVE in there, do certain things to kind of keep this thing stabilized. And I think we left a lot of potential for guys who's going to take some leaps. So I was just looking back at last year. You think about the rookie class we had, we kept all 11 rookies and everybody we brought in, man. And like, who excites you the most heading into this next season?
To be honest, Tyler Smith. Phenomenal rookie year. he was kind of thrown to the fire right away. It wasn't the best right away, but he got that raw experience, like kind of like that thing where like back in the day they say your dad used to throw you in the pool and then you learn how
Straight
to
grown
swim.
man strength.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another year, in the weight room, he should improve. He kind of, as far as I know, came away from the season pretty healthy, and I think, we could expect a nice leap there from him. Another name, I just think DaRon Bland. I think Stephon Gilmore is going to do wonders for him. I think that's going to be the case because he was asked as well to do a lot as a rookie. We didn't have the depth at corner that we thought we had. And when AB went down, as well as Jordan Lewis, which my bad, AB, please forgive me for those comments. And I think DaRon Bland year 2, like we can see some fireworks there. What about you?
I love Bland. Anything but Bland, man. You know what I mean? He's a beast. I think he's already arrived.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm definitely excited to see him. I'm obviously Jake Ferguson. I think just for me, it's the guys that didn't get the opportunities last year, that didn't get the playing time this year, that I think would be able to really kind of just finally get into that role and take that leap. Ferguson is a guy, I think, if you looked at it with the obviously the catches he got, the opportunities he got, he made the most of them.
Right.
Some of the biggest jack at the tight end position. I love him. We'll see how that plays out with Schoonmaker or whatever. But I think he's a guy that's up for a big year. Another one is Sam Williams.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like every time Sam Williams was in the game, he just made plays, and not just rushing the passer, but defending the run. He just was flashing, and he plays physical. So I'm excited to see him just kind of just give him the playing time, let him play, because I want to see more of him. It seemed like as the year went on, he played more and more, but I think Sam can be a beast. And I ain't just talking like, just rookie leap from next year. I'm thinking like one of the players that's an important piece on his defense.
Sure.
And if I had a dark horse, I think DeMar Clark. Obviously, we all know his situation, how long it took him to get going, came back a lot sooner than expected, threw him in the fire as well. I think you can see him take a leap and kind of be that guy in that linebacker room. He's already a leader. I'm excited to see him grow for sure.
I like that a lot, and then going into this season, after talking about year 2, year 1, we got the rookies. Talk to me about how you feel about this rookie class and what your expectations are there.
It's crazy, right? So we just talked about all these guys is taking these year 2 leaps. And if I must say, we had one of the, would you say we had one of the better classes last year across the league?
Absolutely. Outside of Seattle, I would say probably the best class.
Yeah, for sure. So you look at that, and all the ratings that came out last year was, hey, the Cowboys had a terrible draft. One of the worst. I remember seeing us like ranked towards the bottom, a lot of teams, and trust Will McClay is what I must say, right? So I say all that to say this year you're hitting the tour. We kind of singing the same tune. We didn't do what a lot of people thought, but the more and more you look at this class, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like Schoonmaker. You know what I mean? I love Mazi. I'm excited to see what Overshown can do. I don't know how many players will get the PT, but a guy that I really think can come in here and kind of just, light this thing out of the park is Duece Vaughn, given the opportunities, man. So I got high expectations for him and Mazi Smith, of course. Schoonmaker, I'm not sure how much I expect from him, and I can say the same for Overshown at this point.
Yeah, with Duece, I really do wonder what kind of running back split we're going to be looking at this year. Tony's on the tag, so it's like, are they going to just run him till the wheels fall off and kind of, preserve some of Duce's touches for the future? Or is it going to be like a 50-50, 60-40? We got Malik Davis in there sprinkled in. So, I'm really excited for that running back room. The linebacker room is an odd one to me. I don't know what that depth chart is really going to look like, but I do hope we have a better linebacker than Leighton Vander Esch in there somewhere. Not that I don't like Vander Esch, but it was nice to have, that year Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch had was nice. They hustled us, but it was nice.
Hey, listen, I thought we was good for a long time.
What?
Like people forget how good that duo was, man. But hey, man, like LVE played ball to us in the season once we got a Hankins in there. Like let's just see, man. Dan Quinn is cooking. Obviously he went into this thing knowing what he needs. You know what I mean? If it's anything, I must say Dan Quinn has a lot of control, a lot of pull within this organization. So I think you'll see all these guys defensively take a leap, and Overshown. I don't think he will come out there and have a lot of let's say PT right away, but I think he will have a role.
Sure.
And that's something that we'll see form as we get into training camp, OTAs, even preseason. Just keep an eye on what type of packages. Is he going to be a rover? You know, I mean, somewhere playing a little, you know, safety in the box. Just watch Dan Quinn a little bit. I don't know how much he'll tip his hand, but I'm pretty sure he has a plan for this guy.
And then, you know, lastly with Mazi, I wasn't in love with the pick right away. You know, I like Steven and Vila right there, which would have addressed that O-line concern of mine. But the more and more I think about it, getting a move like that only improves everyone around him. You know, Sam Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence might have to do a little less. He's at
Micah Parsons.
And you heard, you know, Dan Quinn come out the other day and pretty much say, no, he's not an edge rusher. He's going to play everywhere. Like, we got packages dialed up pretty much.
Yeah.
So I love that a lot, you know. And then, you know, speaking of these guys, you know, and possible contract extensions, they're in the works with potentially we could get a Trayvon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, you know, extension in the coming weeks. Talk to me about that.
I think it makes sense. And I know you talked about that splash, like what that splash is going to be. Could it be this? I don't know. But, you know, I think Diggs has earned it. Obviously, this is a polarizing guy. You either love him, you know what I mean, he gets the hate. But I think, you know what I mean, whatever side of the fence you're on, I think he's proven he's one of the top guys in this league. And he's young, you know what I mean? People forget he's only been playing cornerback for, 3 to 4 years right now. He's still learning. And then how important is it to get a guy like Stephon Gilmore beside him and just watch this guy grow? So definitely lock him up. And CeeDee, I think that's another guy. I think, you know what I mean, it's said a lot without saying it that's why they let Amari Cooper go. They wanted to see who CeeDee was. Right. And I think he proved it. And what you don't want to happen, I'm gonna be honest, you don't want to happen because the Cowboys are kind of always late on these moves. Sometimes they're before the bullet, you know what I mean? You never know. But you don't want this guy to come out here with Dak and light it up this year and put up top 3, top 5 receiver stats to come out here and say, okay, what was you saying, Jerry?
Right.
You know what I mean? So the price can go up. It's not going down, and the same for Dak. Like, go ahead and get Dak in there right now. If he's your guy, you want to roll with him some more years, go ahead and go ahead and get this contract done before Burrow and Herbert and all these guys get their deal. And then once we get those post-June 1 cuts and that Zeke money will start rolling in, let's see what we got to work with.
See, I think there's this weird under strategy happening around the league right now too, where pretty much the Bengals, like, they got to make their move on Burrow before Higgins, you know? So it's like, do we go for the CD contract first, being that Dak is under contract? You know what I mean? So it's like a tricky situation because the last thing we want to do is let the Bengals work out all their contracts and we're paying crazy amounts for everybody. And that's not even to mention, you know, the deal Micah Parsons is going to get next season.
Huge.
What?
Hey, but look, back to Brinks truck up. I don't even care. Just make them happy.
Right.
You got to pay them. But, you know, one thing I know as fans, like we always say, hey, you got 17 million in cap, you got 18 in cap. But you do have to have something available for these guys that you're going to pay, man. And, you know what I mean, just kind of thinking about that, thinking about CeeDee, he's respected around the league. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Listen to the I'm Athlete, him, Devontae Adams on there. And, you know, it surprised many, but they asked him who. And it's like top 5 CeeDee Lamb. And he was like, trust me, I know what I'm saying. This is a guy who came into the league. Like, CeeDee is that dude, man. Yeah. And, you know what I mean? You got to respect it. Not only that, I remember it was earlier this offseason, and I remember Tyreek Hill saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are guys that's in the league. They're playing. They are top 5 receivers themselves.
Right.
And they look at CeeDee Lamb being that guy, potentially being that guy. So just to put that out there, man, I know, you know, man, a lot of people may not feel like he's there yet. But, you know, I mean, I think given opportunities and seeing him being force-fed, I think it was something to see that he actually answered the bell.
No, you know, and I was very harsh on CeeDee last offseason. You know, I was like, I just don't see it. Like, I get he's the number one, but, like, is he a number one? Like, he's our number one, but in the league is he viewed as a number one? Because I just didn't see it. But I do think he made a leap this year. I think he did show improvement. And you also got to think, too, how many games has CeeDee Lamb played without Dak Prescott due to injury?
Hey, that's something that people don't talk about enough.
Right.
It hasn't been a lot.
And you know what I mean? Still produced, you know, with Cooper Rush. And how many other wide receivers in the league are going to produce with Cooper Rush? Because I'm telling you right now, he ain't hitting Tyreek Hill deep. Not Cooper Rush.
Nah.
On to go ahead.
Nah, I was saying that's fair. You know what I mean? He proved it, man. So, and Noah Brown there too, but
Right. Oh, that was his
nah,
buddy, Noah Brown.
yeah.
The
But see that dude though,
I
for
agree.
sure.
And I do think, we got to be on the right side of the Higgins Chase contract. So,
Hey, get ahead, man. Just you know what I mean? It sucks right away, but you know how I go 2-3 years down the road, it won't look as bad. So let's go ahead and hop on and get it done.
and I would not be mad if Jerry actually opened his wallet and did one of those signing bonuses that, the Rams were doing. That wouldn't be a bad idea at all, try to take a little bit off the cap there. With Trayvon Diggs, I do think he's the cornerstone of our secondary. I think he's the best player in our secondary. You look at it last year, no, he didn't have 11 interceptions, but when you're down to Kelvin Joseph, they're not throwing to your side. They're going to pick on him over there. So if you're not getting targets, you're not getting picks, So that's just like the fact that the stats weren't there, I think, show the stats themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he was more disciplined,
Exactly.
for sure last year. And every quarterback gets burned. I don't think people talk about that enough.
Right.
It seems like they want to take every time he makes a bad break on the ball or something and go ahead and plaster that. But they don't talk enough about. I'm just seeing Jalen Ramsey get cooked.
Always.
I done seen them all get cooked. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be honest, man. It happens. And that's the price of playing cornerback. You get burnt. You know what I mean? You go back to the next play, you forget about it, you come back out there and you make a play. And he does that. And I love him for it.
And I think too, with Trayvon, you got Sam Williams in year 2, like we talked about. You got Mazi. You got a masterclass corner, the former defensive player of the year, and whispering in your ear. So with that veteran leadership now in the secondary, I do expect great things from Trayvon moving forward. On to Dak, I don't know what kind of contract. Do we have an idea of what contract we're looking for with Dak?
I'm not. He hasn't really came out publicly and said like what he's looking for. But listen, Dak wanted the bag,
right?
And the reason I can say that is because obviously the type of deal that he wanted to sign prior to this, he wanted that 4-year deal with the potential of hitting this open market again for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think much has changed since then. The only difference is, he has this blip on his radar, which is all these interceptions he's thrown last year. And I think for sure, you know how I go with negotiations. I think they'll for sure come to him and say, "Hey, Dak, listen, you want to get paid? Jalen Hurts got this money, but listen, he's won in this short amount of time. He's been to the playoffs and he's been to a Super Bowl, and this is what he's got. And we're gonna be somewhere in here. The thing that messed it all up was Daniel Jones getting that money. I'm gonna be honest, because Dak is gonna look at that and say, okay, well, this is my floor, and where am I at? So I think he'll fall somewhere between the two, obviously, but I don't think he'll get high. It could be though. Could be wrong.
It's so weird because I can see both sides. Like if he wants to bring up Daniel Jones, Jerry can say, "Well, you haven't gotten further than Daniel Jones. You did your rookie year, But since then, what have you done for me lately?" But then on Dak's side, it's like, yeah, Jalen Hurts got here, but look what they did when he was on his rookie contract for him. Y'all didn't do that for me. So I think it goes both ways. Either way, I'm pro players getting their money, and
I can't. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm pro the owner figuring a way out. Like if that's your guy, that's your guy. Figure it out.
I can't. The only thing is, like you said, I will say this, and it bothers me so much is that I feel like Dallas never went all in when they had the opportunity to. They just kind of coasted and they had what they had. But Dak had weapons, but he never had a good offense and defense at the same time. And it was always, he had Dak. I mean, he always had Dez and Zeke in the offensive line. But it seemed like in the most critical moments, the defense let him down. Sure. You know what I mean? And I think now, and definitely last year, I think these are some of the better teams Dak has ever played with. If I must say, and this may be the best one yet. You lose some, you get some, but as far as like him having a defensive line up with, and having the weapons, the offensive line may not be what it once was, but it's still serviceable. So he should perform. He should. There's no excuses at this point. There was no excuses in that playoff game. I'm not going to give him no pass for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? He didn't play well. You know what I mean? I think the defense held up well. But on Kellen Moore not being able to jump the door. Hopefully Mike McCarthy has something planned for Dak with this West Coast offense, putting some better reads out there for him, make it a little bit quicker, not a lot of thinking. And, you know what I mean? I think he'll be better for it, for sure.
No, I agree. And, the thing with Dak that's weird to me, too, is, like, what if he isn't in the long-term plan? Like, he could be, he couldn't be, but you kind of got to look at it like, is Dak Prescott a top 5 quarterback? Because Daniel Jones is getting top 5 money. He's not a top 5 quarterback. And that really puts the Giants in a bad spot. So, I mean, there is a business decision there, but obviously Dak's going to look for that top 5 money.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He'll be calling. He'll be calling soon. He don't have too many years left on that deal. So, if I must say, I wouldn't be surprised before training camp season starts, Dallas Cowboys got in front of that and get Dak extension. Yeah, and I wouldn't be mad at it. Let's go ahead and get a hit of it.
The only thing that I worry about with that is that they don't push too much money back and put ourselves in a situation like the Rams are in now, especially if we're not able to win it all. Like, imagine just pushing all that money back and then we get stuck in rebuild mode. Like, nobody has time for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. But we young. We're still young. We old in certain areas, but we young. So one thing I know about us is like we really haven't been through a full rebuild, and we've been fortunate. We was able to go from a Romo to a Dak. You know what I mean? And a lot of teams don't get that opportunity. I ain't trying to go through a rebuild. I'm gonna just be honest.
That'll be brutal.
So Dak, listen, let's go ahead and quest for 6, man. Let's do it.